If you're like me, you're a little bit perplexed when you do a lot of work and you research and you buy stocks that you know are going to be strong and they're going to grow, and then they collapse and you don't have a clue as to why. Well, I learned this week why my portfolio dropped 20%, starting on February the 1st through March the 21st, and then it collapsed again. And I just learned why that second collapse happened. And it has nothing to do with the value of the stocks that I own. It has to do with a broken system. We knew the system was broken back in 2008 when the subprime crisis occurred. And we knew that the regulators came in and cleaned it up. But we just learned it's still broken, it's abused, and the system is rigged against us. It all came out with the disclosure of ARK Capital Management, a hedge fund owned by Bill Wang, that caused the market to collapse on March the 21st and caused your portfolio to collapse as well. I want to get a little deeper into it. I think you need to understand it. I think it will give you some peace of mind, but it'll probably anger you a bit as to what's going on and how you and I are getting abused by a system that is rigged. Okay. I'll talk more about that. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm the voice of Best of Us Investors. We're a group of people who collectively want to get together to understand this. This came to my attention from one of my tribe members who asked me about it. I did some research on it, and now I want to share what I've learned with you.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Grinkmeyer.
As individual investors, we think we have a pretty good clue as to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And if we read a lot, we trust our judgment. And then things happen that just out of the blue say, I'm in the wrong business. This isn't right. And it happened just recently. Specifically, I can nail it down to March the 21st, when the market collapsed and some of my holdings took further losses of about 20%. What it was a gentleman by the name of Bill Wang, who has a very shady history of bad dealings, insider trading, had built himself to hold a hedge fund by the name of ARK Capital Management. And he had bought some stocks, the specific stocks that we can measure and we can look at to get a figure on what he was doing, was a Viacom CBS. What he did was buy substantial shares of that and some Chinese internet stocks and a extended portfolio that forced liquidation in the week of March the 21st to the tune of $20 billion. What he had done was he bought these stocks as a hedge fund, and then he went to Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, and Nomura Bank, and did what is called a swap. And what that is he goes to the bank and he says, I have, let's just use a number, $1 million worth of these stocks. I want you to hold them as security for a loan to me to buy more stocks. So these three banks, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, and Nomura, let him on his $1 million, another 10 million. So in essence, he got a 10-to-1 leverage against the stocks. And that's all well and good as long as his stocks are going up. But when they go down, in fact, if they go up 10%, the bank gives him more money. And so he leverages against that as well. Well, he got up to somewhere between a 5 and 10% leverage, and then the market turned against him. Well, what that does is then the market says, you need to give us some more money. And Bill says, I don't have any more money. Well, then we have to liquidate the stocks. Well, on March 21st, they started liquidating because of his overwhelming purchases, it had artificially run up. As a result then of his liquidation, it just crashed down. So we had something to the tune of $20 million, billion, that's with a B, $1 billion worth of liquidation hit the market, which not only brought down his Viacom, his Baidu, and his other Chinese internet stocks, it sucked the whole market down. One man and a rigged system sucked the whole market down. Now, why am I calling this a rigged system? Because it should be transparent, and we should have known that Bill Wang was doing this. But no, we didn't, because he used a swap, and as a result, this overwhelming ownership of these companies didn't show up in Bill Wang's name. He didn't have to report that he owned over 10% of the outstanding shares of these stocks. No, they showed up as being owned by Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, and Nomura Bank. So the system was set up to keep this from happening, but the system allowed a back door for him to come in and do it. So as a result of this liquidation of over $20 billion, my portfolio took a beating, and I had no reason why. I had seen it fall, and I still don't know why it fell starting in February 1st. I know why it fell again on March 21st. But I suspect somewhere in the future, I'm going to find out something similar to this happened in February, and then it was just added to it in March. So what I am sharing with you is why this happened, how it happened. The danger of it is that you and I panic. The unwanted roommate in our head tells us we're out of our league. We need to get out of this. The system beat us. So what do we do now? More importantly, has this ever happened before? Yeah, go back to 1998. There was a similar incident with long-term capital management. As a result of the Russians defaulting on their bonds in 1998, long-term capital management was doing the exact same swap thing, and as a result, it sucked the market down, and the Wall Street banks actually had to come in and bail them out. Again, it was because they were using smoke and mirrors to rig the system to beat it. A similar situation happened, if you don't remember the long-term capital management, do you remember the name Bernie Madoff? Do you remember Bernie admitted to his sons back in 2008 that he was running a scam, a Ponzi scheme of having people taking money, and he was supposed to be investing on their behalf, and he wasn't. He and his wife and his family were living very high on the hog. Again, the system failed. Well, Bernie got sent to jail, and then right in the midst of us learning about Bernie, we had the great financial crisis, what I call the subprime crisis, what some people call the real estate crisis in 2008. And once again, when we are told that these drastic moves in the market that are unexplainable will normally come back to our banking system, to our Wall Street system, to the little paths that they offer to the big money to conceal what they're doing. And who ends up being the victim? Who ends up being the victim? Well, in the '08 situation, the victim, some would say, was Lehman Brothers. Some would say was not Morgan Stanley, but Merrill Lynch, who ended up being bought out by Bank of America. No, we're the victims. It's you and I, because then what happened is that everything tumbled, including General Motors and Chrysler filing for bankruptcy, and the federal government came in and bailed out the banks as well as General Motors. Wait a second, I'm not the victim. The government bailed them out. Well, who the hell is the government? Who the hell pays taxes to support the government? We saw as a result of that, our national debt in 2008 was $8 trillion. In the next 10 years to 2018, to bail out the banks, to bail out the General Motors, we took on another $10 trillion worth of debt. That's who bailed it out. That's who basically bails everybody out. So the system was broken. The system was abused. Wall Street abused it. The banks failed, General Motors failed, and you and I came in and wrote a check. Now, it was funny money because we still owe it, but that's how it's taken care of. And that's what will happen here. We know who did this, a guy by the name of Bill Wang. What do you think is going to happen to him? He was convicted of insider trading several years ago, and he's right back doing the same thing. What do you think's going to happen to him? Put that name, write it down, Bill Wang. See if he ends up in jail. I'll guarantee you he won't. But he just took my portfolio down about 15% because of his shenanigans. That's where we're playing. I play the long game. I don't get involved in short-term investments because I know things like this are going to happen. It happened on March the 21st. It's happened before, and it will happen again. So the message I want to deliver to you is play the long game, buy good companies that are going to change the way you live, and then are going to give you good returns, and get out of this trap that when you buy something on short term that you don't know what Bill Wang's going to do to you. You don't know how the system is rigged, and you have people like Credit Suisse and Goldman Sachs facilitating this scam. That's what it is. And you need to know it. You need to know when you go to the casino what your odds are of winning and how you can win. You need to be the smartest guy at the table. Okay, I needed to share that with you. I also want to share with you that I play the long game. I get help from my tribe. My tribe is a collection of people who we meet at Best of Us Investors. And there, if you'll go there, I'll give you the link to our Discord. And at our Discord, we're talking about what are the companies in the future. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about a company that is involved in rare earth materials. What are rare earth materials? You may have heard Elon Musk talk about it, why he wants to go to Mars. Because he knows, he's confident, there are rare earth materials up there that can provide the gold of the future. The elements that we need to take us to where our world is going. With that in mind, I have found a company here in the United States, the only one in the Western Hemisphere. What we have been doing in the past is relying on China for our rare earth materials. Once again, where our supply chain is broken. So tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about an investment opportunity for your future. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm the host of Best of Us Investors, and I want to help you make good investment decisions. I'll talk to you tomorrow about rare earth materials.